I think this would be the format that it would be required.
Undersecretary Jay Hurst, who is acting as Pentagon controller, told the House Appropriations Subcommittee that his previous estimate is that the war so far has cost about $29 billion, up from $25 billion 2 weeks ago. Also testifying was the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Kane. I'm Mark Neafield.
The U.S. Congressional Budget Office says a Golden Dome missile defense system will cost the U.S. over $1 trillion.
The nonpartisan office released a 12-page report on Tuesday, estimating a cost of about $1.2 trillion over the next 20 years to develop and deploy a defense system that would protect the U.S. from incoming missiles. The report says the majority of the cost would be for developing a space-based interceptor defense system capable of destroying aerial threats mid-flight. I'm Michael Kastner.
PayPal is agreeing to a $30 million settlement with the Department of Justice to resolve concerns of bias in favor of minority-owned businesses.
The issue centered on the company's Economic Opportunity Fund, which aimed to use $530 million to uplift black and minority-owned small businesses. But the Justice Department accuses the program of being discriminatory. Now PayPal will launch a new initiative, waiving processing fees on $1 billion worth of transactions, as well as designating a director for the initiative and submit proposals for it. However, the company is not expected to pay any money to the government and was not found liable for violating the Equal Credit Opportunity Act. I'm Jim Roop.
From America's News Network, USA Radio News.
Maybe this is you too. There's enormous frustration right now with healthcare costs. It is amazing. Healthcare costs for families in the last 20 years have almost tripled, and it just keeps getting worse. All this to say, this is why MediShare is so in demand right now. People are looking for alternatives. And MediShare is proven you can save thousands of dollars a year and actually like it more. Over 1 million Americans are now part of healthcare sharing, and MediShare is the gold standard. It's trusted. It works. It's been helping people save money and have peace of mind now for 30 plus years. It's not some big impersonal thing either. It's a community of people like you helping each other. So yeah, if you're frustrated too, here's your chance to make a refreshing change. You'll notice the difference as soon as you call. They're easy to talk to. You can get a price within 2 minutes. Here is the number. Call 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE-40.
J.D. Vance says a federal anti-fraud task force has frozen more than $1.4 billion in payments to home health and hospice providers suspected of abusing Medicare and Medicaid programs. Federal officials say many providers failed to respond after funding was suspended, raising additional concerns about legitimacy. Supporters call the crackdown long overdue, while critics caution investigators must protect legitimate healthcare services during enforcement efforts. A hit Broadway show is getting a new home, at least for now.
The Book of Mormon is temporarily moving to Broadway's August Wilson Theater. It's to allow repairs to continue at the show's permanent home, the Eugene O'Neill Theater, which was damaged in a fire earlier this month. In-person ticket sales are now available for shows beginning after May 17th. The exact dates and times are expected to be announced soon. The award-winning show has been on Broadway since February of 2013. In New York, I'm Daria Albinger.
Today's National Day will have you reaching for a fork.
That's because today is National Apple Pie Day. It's America's favorite pie, accounting for 29% of all pie sales year-round. Created in England in 1381, but back then they put raisins in it. Don't do that. Americans made it popular during World War II. Chevrolet even ran an ad campaign about the American apple pie. So today, bake a pie or buy one, but know your mission is to eat it. I'm Bree Tennis.
I'm Ron Warner, USA Radio News.
You can help put vets to work by donating your car, truck, or van. Your donation will directly support programs to help vets find jobs or even start their own business. Donate today for fast, free pickup of your vehicle. Call 800-209-4580 for 24-hour response. Call 800-209-4580. That's 800-209-4580.
Dependable Lock Service is your source for replacement car keys, custom safes from Liberty Safe, and so many more lock and key services. With over 30 years of experience in lock and key industry, there's nothing Dependable Lock Service can't do for you. Whether you're looking for duplicate automotive keys, rekey, commercial and residential locks, or custom safe building, we've got you covered. Call 603-886-0559. Nashua's dependable lock services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
The sky's not the limit, it's just the beginning. I'm Ed Mullen from Nashua Aerial Advertising. There's no better way to advertise your business and or message than high in the sky. How can you make your advertising budget work for you? By putting your ads up where they'll stand out. The sky is an uncluttered, impressive venue. You can put your message over a region or location to target your desired demographic. Put your ads where they're needed. We provide coverage over communities through Merrimack Valley, Greater Nashua, Manchester, Lowell, and points throughout South Central New Hampshire and North Central Mass. Summertime beaches, sporting events, races, fairs, and festivals are all ready-made for banner telling. For more information, please visit us online at NashuaAerialAdvertising.com. And remember, the sky's not the limit, it's just the beginning.
Tired of wondering where your money really goes? At Mammoth Nation, we built what was missing. The America First Marketplace. Every brand we feature is 100% American owned and operated, rigorously vetted for their values and committed to supporting our Constitution, law enforcement, and the American dream. When you shop with us, your dollar stays in the neighborhood, supporting families, veterans, and charities like Folds of Honor. No more sending your hard-earned money overseas to the companies that don't respect you here. Your dollar reflects your values. Your dollar, your values, your America. Join Mammoth Nation today and be part of building a patriot economy by going to TruckersUnitedForFreedom.com affiliate page and hit that link. American built, America strong, Mammoth Nation.
The views and opinions of the following show do not reflect those of WSMN, its owners, and/or associates.
Welcome to the Common Sense Conservatives, a political discussion group about current events and other government-related matters every Wednesday evening from 7 to 8 p.m. Right here on WSMN 1590 AM, WSMN 95.3 FM, and streaming live on wsmn.live. Making sense of the inverted reality we are subject to every day, the Common Sense Conservatives are here to help bring you back to reality. Now, your hosts, Chris Wyatt, Todd McKinley, and John Grothman.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Common Sense Conservatives. It is another Wednesday night, and we are here in the studio, all three of us. Todd, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Oh, not bad. Hanging in there. Just taking it day by day, my friend. How are you up there in New Hampshire?
Doing well, man. Of course, if I hit the right buttons, it helps over here on my end. Chris, how you doing over there in southeast Pennsylvania?
South Central.
I'm sorry, South Central.
Central, man.
All right, we don't really say South Central. Sounds too much like L.A. We just say Central PA.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Appreciate that. Just back from a trip to Orlando, where I met about another 150 South African refugees in Orlando, Tampa, St. Pete, and Palm Harbor. Interesting weekend. And I'm getting kind of tired. I get exhausted all these trips. It's like I'm back in the Army, except I'm not getting paid. That's the big problem.
Yeah, man, all that travel and stuff wears you out after a while. Ask a truck driver, you might know.
Yeah, rumor has it.
Rumor has it. All right, so people are claiming that Trump's just not very accepted in the world, and people don't have any respect for him. But did you see that welcome he got in China?
Yeah, it's true. It was a big welcome, a lot better than the ones that the Obama got. But then again, the Chinese, it's communists. They just put them out there, make them do whatever they tell them to do. So we got to temper that with a little reality. But yeah, it was a great welcome for Trump. I think that the Xi Jinping is trying to put on a good show to make his point that Trump is important and America is important. That's what they're trying to do.
Yeah. Well, Trump is important. He seems to be moving the world right now. I think that's his goal, isn't it? Is he wants to better things for the United States of America, reposition us in the globe so that we maintain a position of strategy and kind of power. To put it bluntly, I mean, he wants to keep us in a position where we can benefit, as opposed to where the Bidens and Obamas have put us, and at a deprecating level.
Well, yeah, he definitely wants to make sure that America's a strong place. There's no doubt about that, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying that the Chinese, it's great that they welcomed him, but it's not to be entirely unexpected, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
sure.
oh, yeah, it's a good show. It's kind of like when he goes to Saudi Arabia, and well, they let him into the palace, and it's to my understanding they don't often let the president into the palace over there. So, it was a really good show for Trump over there. And but yeah, the same sort of welcome where they had the females there, and they did that greeting, that's respect for leaders and stuff like that as they come through.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I got you 100%. 100%. I agree with you with that. So, yeah, Trump this is a rather important trip for him. I was asked by South African media outlet that I get interviewed frequently on, appear on their program Business. They asked me about, well, what I think's being discussed there. And I said, well, there's going to be a public discussion that you're going to know about. And there's going to be a private discussion. I mean, all of them are private conversations, but there's going to be a private conversation that no one's going to know about. And I said, the private conversation is probably going to be Trump telling Xi Jinping to knock off the spying on America, or we're going to take drastic steps against you. We've just arrested another Chinese spy who was a mayor in a suburb of Los Angeles. She's pled guilty to spying for the Chinese communists. And so that's probably going to be top of it, along with intellectual property theft and that sort of stuff that's going on. But the spying isn't just by political figures and people who sleep with Chinese spies like Eric Fang Swalwell. It's also rampant in our universities where they're stealing our intellectual property, our artificial intelligence, our chip processing manufacturing ideas, all of our chemical processes are engineering. It's rampant. So Trump is going to have this conversation with them. That's going to be a private conversation. That can't be public, because it'll embarrass the Chinese. And the second one is going to tell them to knock the crap off. Quit threatening the Philippines and Vietnam and Indonesia and Taiwan and Japan and Korea. Or we will, I don't know if he's going to say this, but we will reinstitute U.S. military bases in Taiwan and put Patriot missiles there and tactical ballistic missiles. Anyway, that's what I would say to him, but that's pretty provocative. But China needs a little smack upside the head. Now, publicly, what they're going to talk about is trade, and lowering tariffs and also opening markets up in China for U.S. goods and vice versa this side. So but it's a very important trip, particularly given that there's no war in Iran, but there is a war in Iran, but there is no war in Iran. There's peace in Iran, but there's no peace in Iran. We don't know what the hell's going on in Iran. So with that distraction, this Chinese trip becomes all the more important because, of course, eventually they're going to come back at election time and say, Trump promised to end the war in one day in Ukraine, which was a joke. No one ever would win the war, won't end it one day. But that's going to come back to bite Trump probably this fall if something isn't done. In the meantime, people are starting to get a little bit antsy about the price of fuel, even though the price of fuel has only got up by about 25 or 30%, whereas it more than doubled under Joe Biden. We seem to have forgotten that collectively. But I think this is very important for Trump. It wasn't that important in my mind until we had the attack on Iran. Now it's that important. And it wasn't as important to the U.S. as it was to China, who desperately needs this meeting, until Iran. Now both leaders desperately need a good meeting. So I think that something positive will come out of this from both sides, at least publicly. That's my view on it.
I think you're right. Wasn't it a concern that China may be assisting Iran during this effort? And that might be part of the catalyst of the meeting, that Trump's kind of like going to be back off, back out. We're going to handle this. And the more you interfere, the worse it is for you.
Well, I think the approach Trump will probably take on that, and if he's clever, and he's a pretty clever businessman, would be more like, well, the longer that we blockade Iran's oil, the longer your energy stranglehold is going to take place. We don't want that to happen. We want your economy to flourish, just like we want your economy to flourish. If you happen to be sending weapons there, that really doesn't help the situation. That prolongs the conflict and allows them to survive longer. So we will continue the blockade, and if you continue to supply weapons to them, well, that just makes it last longer. Who loses in that equation?
Right.
Gonna reason with them, huh?
Well, I mean, what other approach is there? I mean, we're not going to bomb them. They have nuclear weapons.
Yeah, no, we're not.
Right.
We have no interest in engaging in China that way. Obviously, it wouldn't be to anybody's benefit.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't be. We don't need that. But hopefully the Chinese will clean up their act. But I doubt it. It's entirely self-interested for them, what they're doing. They don't care about the rest of the world. They think it's their natural God-given right to dominate Asia and to control their countries. They are a neo-mercantilist, colonial state. That's what they are. And they are colonizing the world. They're colonized Africa with a couple million Chinese flooding in Africa. People have no grasp on the number of Chinese throughout Africa at this stage. So, yeah, China is a dangerous actor that has malevolent ambitions. It doesn't do things in the interest of others. For instance, they've just offered duty-free access to all their African trading partners. Well, where's that been for the last 26 years when the United States did it? It wasn't there. Until Trump. Now Trump's suspended, Congress brought it back, but China's never done that. They're just doing it now because they're trying to compete with the U.S., which is getting more traction in Africa than the Chinese realize.
Yeah, they What else they got going on over there? Boy, how do you think China's economy is going to fare with their losing their labor? I mean, are they just going to depend on robotics alone? You think robotics is going to fill that gap for them? Or are they going to be really in trouble economically for labor shortages?
Well, they're already in trouble economically for a lot of reasons. Number one, much of their economy is just fantasy. It's fiction. It's accounting errors. And they built cities where virtually no one lives that are
Right.
beginning to decay because they're not occupied. Highways that nobody utilizes. If you look at China, within 50 miles of the shore is where the vast majority of the country's GDP is located. Almost everything they produce comes within 50 miles of the seashore. The rest of the country is a backwater, some of the 13th century country. People still using donkey carts to do agriculture in many parts of China. Most of the people are also suffering from unrealized expectations. China has produced a middle class now of hundreds of millions of people who have bigger ambitions than the Chinese economy allows them to have, and also their personal freedoms. They've also screwed this thing up with the one-child policy. Now they have a skewed population pyramid that's out of control, and the population is declining. India is a larger country by population now. China's slipping down the ranks in the size of the country. They have severe demographic issues here. They have an aging workforce, and they are in a lot of trouble. Not just because, but your point about robotics and AI will probably be very helpful. That's one reason why they're so eager to get into it, not just to make money. They need it to survive because they have to come up with robotics like the Japanese have in their factories and we have in our automobile factories, because they're simply not going to have the workers to continue the things they've been doing for the last 30 years because of the foolhardy strategic decisions that they made 50 years ago. And so that's coming back to bite them in the backside, along with the ecological disaster that they've created with the mining and the strip mining and the polluting of the rivers and streams and all the damage they've done to their environment. The Chinese have a lot of problems, and almost nobody wants to pay attention to it. I've been talking about this for many, many years about why China is not a threat to the United States and overtaking us economically. We've heard about this forever. Well, China will overtake the USA in 2000 or 2010, never in 2000, 2010, 2015, 2020, 2025. Well, China still has a smaller economy than us, and they have a population 4 times our size. So until China reaches a GDP where they make $80,000 per person like America does, I'm not going to be impressed. They should be having a larger economy than us. It's a larger country with 1.3 billion people. So I think the bottom line here is that a lot of people have said a lot of stuff about China, and most of them have been wrong for 60 years.
Have you guys seen some of these cities they have in China with artificial intelligence? It kind of makes you wonder when you look at these cities and how they're using like data centers, or I don't know if you call them data centers over there, but they have these centers that are basically controlling the whole city. They control how the cars travel through the roadways and stuff like that. They try to reroute cars. They'll reroute cars for emergency vehicles. They'll control the electric grid. So businesses and stuff that have their air conditioning on in the evening time, they'll actually adjust it for them without their control, and bring it back to temperature in the morning as people would come back to work. Things like this. Have you seen all this?
No, I haven't really been paying much attention to that. What about you, Todd?
No, I mean, I understand that there's ways to control, central, heating air, whatever, lights in buildings and things like that. I don't know of like a central location controlling an entire city like that. I mean, I do know of smart buildings that you have central location where that's, programmed in or someone controls it, but I don't know of any central location controlling full cities though.
Yeah, they got these cities, man. They're completely controlled. They monitor people. They got facial recognition cameras everywhere. They know when you come in, when you go out, where you go. They track everything you do. Incredible technologies. But you'd expect communists, right? They're communists. So it's kind of like they say, "Oh, you're doing this. You don't have a choice." We're here in the United States. We can kind of push back a little bit and go, "What do you mean? These 15-minute cities? We're not putting up with this." And so it's harder for them to transition this here in the U.S. But if you look in, just go to YouTube and do a Google or a search on YouTube, and you'll probably find what I'm talking about. And it's incredible technologies and stuff. And yeah, you can see some benefits. So if they can route traffic for an ambulance, they're saying that survival rate for heart attack victims are up exponentially because they do have these systems in place, so they can move traffic to allow emergency vehicles through more quickly. But at the same time, if you think about that kind of technology here in the United States, you're looking at this going, wait a minute, I don't want to be that controlled or that monitored. We kind of have it. It's kind of like when we look at the car. I don't know about you guys, but I still look at the car. I go, that's my freedom right there, And that was the mindset of the people in the United States. The ability to travel and have an automobile was like a passage to freedom,
Yeah, absolutely. You know, as far as controlling traffic and things like that, I have seen that where cities can control traffic and be able to have, you know, emergency vehicles be able to flow through a lot easier. I have seen that, but as far as, you know, one central location controlling every building in the city and all that, I've never seen that to that extreme. I have seen, you know, central locations that can control, you know, grid patterns as far as lighting and or traffic, things of that nature. Yeah, I have seen that for sure.
Yeah, I would say look to China if you want to see how technologies will evolve over here. I mean, they're building data centers for a reason. Now, how are they going to make money out of these data centers? Because you can do local AI. They got all these AI apps. I mean, I don't need Elon Musk Rock, or I don't need Chat GBT. I mean, they're good chatbots, but what are they? How do they benefit me? How am I going to get a return on my investment if I pay them the use of their artificial intelligence? But they do have other forms of artificial intelligence that I may put in my computer and use for, you know, if I want to do videoing, editing, and things like that, or write articles and stuff. Maybe you could use Chat GPT for that. But all in all, you don't really see much of an investment. You know what I mean? I don't see how people are going to use that as things progress and they move to autonomy within, businesses and stuff like that, and people are losing their jobs. We're being depleted or obsolete now. Well, we will be, you know, if things progress as they say. So, how are you going to utilize that? And all I see is they build these data centers, and these data centers are set to make a profit in about 2030. And the only way they're making a profit right now that I can evaluate, is government contracts. And they're doing that right now. You see with Department of Defense or Department of War.
No. Data centers are already making a fortune today. That's why they keep building new ones. That's why they're building larger ones. They are a gold mine. That's why Mr. Wonderful has gotten involved in data centers. We're talking about multi-billion-dollar projects in Utah. Mr. Wonderful is getting involved because data centers host all your e-commerce. They host all of your social media. They host everything, not just defense contracts, not just government contracts. The money is to be made in the commercial sector. That's where it's being made. And even more money is going to be made with the space sector that's growing like leaps and bounds right now. So Amazon has to have massive data centers just to handle all the stuff that it does, all its transactions, all of its history. I mean, I can go back and look at every book I've ordered and CD and item I've ordered from Amazon since 1995, 2 months after they opened. That data is stored somewhere. I'm one of hundreds of millions of customers for Amazon alone. Then there's Target. Then there's Goldman, not Goldman Sachs, Saks Fifth Avenue, all these other businesses. And that's just the United States. You haven't even begun to look at the rest of the world. They're making tons of money. And in your industry, John, there's tons of money made from cloud services alone and data centers just for the trucking industry, for transportation. No, this is a gold mine. And people that are not investing in this are missing the boat. Now, it's unlike the .com explosion in the 1990s. Remember that? Ooh, Excite gets this many clicks per day. Clicks don't translate in anything. They thought it would translate in ad revenue.
Right.
Eventually it did, but not in the way they thought it did. And Google mastered that, and everybody tried to copy them. But the data centers are already making money because they're storing data. They're charging. Just think about this. I'm paying now $15 a month for Google services just so that I don't have to delete all my photographs, and I can use it for planning and things like that for my business. Well, that's a service I never used before. That is $180 a year that Google got from one person right now. Mm-hmm. Me, one of a billion people that are probably using Google services. Now multiply that out by all the companies that are out there, and all the AI, that data's got to be stored somewhere that generates those images, those videos, which are really intensive for graphics production, energy consumption, water consumption, and just as importantly, storage on a data service. It's a big deal. And an even bigger service, which is going to come along here, is going to be data recovery, which people aren't talking about. And the reason that comes to mind for me, John, is because I have a hard drive where I had a lot of important data stored at that failed. I had to give it to somebody who's trying to restore the data for me now. Some of it's lost, but he's able to restore a lot of it. But I couldn't do it. There was a problem with the controller card on the device, and he's working through it, but some of the sectors are damaged. Data recovery is going to be massive, and that's one reason why these places are making tons of money already. Storage, processing, it's already making money, John. It's not government contracts. It's already making a ton of money.
How's that benefit you? How do you get a return on your investment in this? What I'm trying to say is, how is this going to benefit displaced workers in the future?
Oh, I don't care about displaced workers. You're talking about investment. I'm talking about making money.
Sorry. You're not making money if you're paying them for the use of their service. And I can buy an NAS system and put it in my home and have basically a home cloud service with recovery.
Sure, you can do that. And what do you mean with recovery? Who are you
So
paying for that?
it's got dual recording. So you got 2 hard drives, or you might have 4 hard drives or 6 hard drives, and what you're doing is duplicating. So you're recording everything twice. So if one hard drive goes down, you got it in another hard drive so that you can recover. So when you replace that hard drive, it transfers all that data and information. So you always have two sets of hard drives storing your data.
And how much data are you going to use to store? I've got about 60
know.
terabytes of data I need to store right now.
60 terabytes?
Yes.
60?
Yes.
How much are you paying for this a month to store 60 terabytes?
Much of that I'm not paying any for because it sits on YouTube.
Oh, well, that's YouTube. Yeah, okay.
Oh, well, YouTube's got to have a data service. Someone's got to have a data center to store all that stuff.
But that benefits their business because
it also benefits my business
from your YouTube.
It also benefits my business because I'm not paying for that service and they're getting it through the advertising revenue out there. And they hire lots of people, lots and lots of people to manage these centers, to run these centers, to do data security, to do system checks. There's a lot of software engineering, a lot of people involved behind the scenes. So that's, it's interesting. I don't know if this is where you go with this conversation, but somebody on my program last week said something about, how AI is going to cost all these jobs. Well, yes and no. I mean, people find ways to adapt and they create new jobs, whole new sectors. I remember when the internet economy came along, there were no jobs in this system. There were no cloud data stores, no data centers. There were no programmers making apps for people to, check baseball scores or to buy things from Amazon. There was no Amazon. None of that stuff existed. There was no e-commerce. And this was going to cost all these jobs. In fact, it created tens of millions of jobs, that whole thing. And if we go back to when people used to ride by horse and buggy, the buggy whip manufacturers were upset when the internal combustion engine came along. We're going to be out of work. We won't be able to do this. Well, guess what? The internal combustion engine created a whole new global industry, which employed tens of millions more people than the buggy whip makers ever did, or the buggy makers, or the horse breeders. Far more people are producing automobiles today, even though there's been a lot replaced by robotics and AI. The point is that there will be work. There will be a way to find it. And the next argument we always get is, well, workforce isn't ready for that. Well, workforces are never ready for it. Nobody was ready for the internal combustion engine except those who were driven. And they adapted and they got jobs. And then the entrepreneurs found ways to employ people who had less skills in a very productive way. The same thing will happen here. It's not we're humans. We adapt. Unfortunately, some people don't adapt fast enough. Look at the Democrats. They still think that they're communists. I mean, they haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah, I don't see anybody pointing toward. Although I see Shawnee here has put out quite a bit of information about how it's going to increase demand for HVAC technicians, electricians, and plumbers. That may be true. I don't know to what point. I mean, once you build so many data centers, how many are you going to build that is going to create demand?
Well, air conditioning units break down, particularly for computers processing.
Okay, for HVAC, but
yes, and plumbers, because these systems run on massive amounts of water. These pipes have to be installed, repaired, maintained, replaced. New places are built, places get done, and the new roles he's talking about: managing and auditing AI systems, AI trainers, compliance specialists. Look, this is a whole new industry, and there's going to be so many jobs, and these are good-paying jobs.
And how many robots is Elon Musk planning on putting out here pretty soon? Some odd 10 million a year or something like that.
I have no idea how many robots he's putting out. I'm more interested in what he's putting into space.
You're more interested. The point is I don't know. Maybe it's not going to happen overnight, and it sounds like it's going to happen overnight the way people like to talk about it. But they're talking about huge displacement of workers in this country and trying to retool workers. It's like, but people chose certain professions and stuff because that fit their personalities, that fit their work type. And when you're telling them you're going to retool them, are you going to retool them to be Walmart greeters, or are you going to retool them to be what? Exactly. And what openings? Because they keep talking about, well, there's going to be depletion. They're already Amazon's laying off people because they don't need them. So what are they going to retool people to do if they keep depleting jobs? Not everybody's qualified to be an electrician, bro. Not everybody.
But you got to think about it. Every time that there's a new revolution, if you will, new technology that comes out, people complain about, the Bronze Age is going to put these people out of work. The Stone Age people out of work. But it creates more jobs and more opportunity, and actually broadens our life, if you will. And of course, the health expectancy, the life expectancy makes things easier. I think whatever's next is just going to create even more jobs and more opportunity for people that we haven't realized yet, I think.
I like your guys' optimism, but I do recall a bunch of people living out west there in certain liberal cities that were living in tents while still making a decent wage. They just couldn't afford to rent an apartment. And so as things change, they don't always change in people's favor. And this is what I'm driving at here. We don't have a guarantee in the future. And you're telling me that we're just doing it off hope. That's what I'm hearing.
No,
it doesn't necessarily
no,
mean
no,
all
no.
this is going to just happen magically. Somebody's got to have a plan for the future, and I don't see
I
anybody
think it's
talking about a
based
plan
off
for the
of.
future.
I think it's based off of history. If you look at it, and the colonel's
I
probably
can't
talking
count on
about
the
that.
future based off history, Todd. I got to see something happening here. And what I see is a lot of
can.
talk, and I don't see any plans for how they're going to structure the future. But I do hear a lot about job displacement. I hear that all the time.
But John, you're just talking about you're hearing grand ideas. We just told you the reality. We just told you
That's
how
not
there
a
are
reality.
actually.
I don't see a plan. I didn't see anybody lay anything out that says this is exactly how things are going to go. I don't see them gearing younger people. I see young people today, millennials and Z generation people, with living in hopelessness. They're going, why do I bother to try anymore? Because they don't feel like they got hope. They don't feel like they got a direction to go.
Well, I'm sure that's how a lot of people felt throughout history. And you know what? Those people just be speed bumps if they don't get their act together. Sorry.
I'm wondering if anybody out there is listening has an opinion on this. I wonder if they would like to call in.
And here's another thing: the fact
discussion
that
on
we have
social
so
media.
much technology, that we produce so much. You know, you look at how many people can actually just freeload off of the system, and the system's still not broken down yet. You know, I think things are going okay. I know we have a lot of issues and problems with people freeloading. I get that, but at the same time, the system is still moving forward, and we're finding ways to make it even better. I mean, that's the way I'm looking at it.
What do you mean freeloading? What were you talking about here about people?
Well, people are always talking about, they don't have any hope or whatever, and they just kind of give up and they just game the system, if you will. But there's always people that game the system that are out there, and we think that people are going to be put out of work because technology is going to, create something, and now all of a sudden all these people are going to be out of work. I think it's going to create more opportunities for people.
I'm a bit of a Luddite. You guys got to realize that, right? I'm a bit of a Luddite here. I don't accept new technologies as well as some people do.
Yeah, I get it. But, back whenever social media came on the scene, everybody was like, oh, this is just a gimmick or whatever. But now think about the billions of dollars that are made through just social media alone. The industry that's created.
Well, billions of dollars. I see algorithms that are beating people down more than anything. I don't see people making billions of dollars. Everybody wants to do a clown show on social media because I do see people hopelessly trying to do that on TikTok and just desperately trying to make that claim to fame.
Everyone wants to have their 15 minutes of fame, but there are people that are using it to their advantage as well. I mean, think about Amazon alone, for crying out loud. It was started by a guy selling some books out of an apartment, right? And now look at him. He's one of the richest guy in the world. And all the industry that he's created just about off of selling some books online.
He did well for himself, I got to admit.
But all the people that have jobs and careers as a result of what he put in place.
So giving Amazon some credit, one thing they do is I can start a shop or whatever and go to Amazon and sell my products on Amazon. They take their cut and I get my profits. That's kind of a pretty decent avenue. And that is true. His business model can work for people. A lot of people benefit off it. Right. So I have to admit that one. And so Chris's point with the data centers, that can be beneficial. That makes a valid point. Because the business model allows somebody an entrance, to get in there and get in on the action.
You think about this, many years ago, decades ago, if you wanted to write a book or be an author or something like that, I mean, good luck, But now with technology like Amazon, you could write a book and have it published within a few weeks, really, and have people buying it, just like that.
If anybody can write a book, is there any value in the books they're producing? I mean, isn't that like art, right? If I go buy if everybody's, man,
but to somebody, you may write something that they want to hear, or want to read or whatever. Maybe it's beneficial to them. And I was talking to the guy, and we've had him on here on the show, Anthony Knops. He said the average author sells about 250 books, and that's it. He said even Stephen King sells an average 250 books. Now, Stephen King may sell 2 or 3 million books, but it averages out because the everyday person who writes that book, who sells 5 copies at a yard sale or at a flea market, it averages out. But anybody has something that they want to talk about, whatever. It may be beneficial to somebody. There's 3 or 4 people that you sell that book to. I mean, I don't know. If you feel you have something to say, why not? Right? Put it out there.
Was this a segue to your book there, Todd? Because we haven't heard an update on that in a while.
Well, I've sold an above average amount at this point. I've sold more than 250, which is good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm an above average author.
Above average author. There you go. See,
Yeah,
Todd
above average
McKinley, above
sales.
average author, raking it in there for.
Right. Yeah.
What are you donating that for? I know it's for suicide
Yeah,
veterans.
so
Or
it's to be the one commission, be the one to end veteran suicide or end suicide in all demographics. We got a commission here in Tennessee to in the American Legion that's focusing on ending veteran suicide, ending suicide amongst young children, young adults, things of that nature. So it's going to go to support that. That's what I'm selling it for.
if someone loses their job, they have a beautiful opportunity to make a change, start a business, start growing. How do you start a business if you don't have income?
Well, today it's very easy. You can go online, we even have a social security number, and start an online merchandise store. If you just have an idea and start making money, I can show you South Africans are doing that right now, coming over as refugees and waiting for jobs and have already started a business and making money. It just takes a little ingenuity and thought. That's it. There's lots of ways to make money. Lots of ways to start a business. You know, you can borrow money. You can.
Well, there are probably people out there listening, Chris, that would like some pointers because they would like to do this. Some people are struggling on social media. So what would you tell them on social media how they could grow their page or their following?
Well, I'm probably the wrong person to ask because YouTube's got me in the shadow banning bin. But
no, you can't say what you want to say on social media, folks. We got that part figured out.
Thunder. If the power goes out, you know why. I just had a big,
I heard
lightning.
Chris saying he might be out of here soon. He's gotten tired of this conversation.
No. I just heard a massive thunderclap outside. They're supposed to start raining at 7:30. It's almost right on the money here. No, look, there's lots of ways to make money out there. Hell, you can stand on the street corner and beg. You know, when I came back from Germany in 1994, my friend who got out of the army lived in this lovely little efficiency place down there in Fells Point, which was going through gentrification. His neighbor had an apartment twice the size his in the same building. And had a nice like BMW outside in the parking area and had a big screen TV and everything. This is 1994. And so they were their neighbors. And then one day, my friend had been jogging down in the Inner Harbor. And he slowed down. He's walking back to cool down. And he sees his neighbor. He didn't say anything. So when he gets back, he says, he saw him. They had a beer that night because they usually drink a beer every couple nights. He said, "Did I see you in Inner Harbor?" He goes, "Yeah, that was me." He said, "Were you begging?" He goes, "Yeah, I make about $100,000 a year tax free."
Wow.
Off of Guilty Tourist. He little song and dance, you know, putting his cap out there, begging for money, makes $80,000 to $100,000 a year, sets his own hours, tax exempt, no Social Security, no Medicare, no income tax, and he was living life large. Yep. So
I gotta tell you, Chris, I don't call that begging. I call that fraud. That's if you're telling people you're down on your luck and you're out there begging and you're making $80,000.
No, he didn't tell people. No, he didn't tell people he was down on his luck. He just did a little song and dance out there and put his cap out and was getting money.
Oh, okay. So he was doing street entertainment.
Yeah, if you want to call it that. I call it begging.
Right, yeah.
Well, there are people that actually do street entertain. They're street entertainers. They'll throw they open up their guitar case, pull up their guitar, leave the case open.
That's
people
one
drop
thing.
change.
Somebody just with their hand out or a bucket saying, you know, give me money. That's not providing any service. I mean, if you play a little music and I'm entertained by it, I should throw something in your bucket, I think. But if you're just sitting out there with a sign or just want me to give you something for free, I'm sorry, I owe you nothing.
Well, I was pretty entertained by Joe Biden stumbling up and down stairs for Air Force One. I'd pay for that entertainment.
Yeah,
you weren't throwing no change out there, but I saw images of Donald Trump throwing golf balls out there, pinging him in the head. I don't think it was real, but.
Yeah, but one of my viewers just said create digital products to sell, thrift and sell clothing, trash can cleaning, house cleaning, farm sitting, helping Department of Natural Resources collect pine cones and plant trees. All these are things people can do to make money. You know, my brother started a lawn keeping business back in the late 80s before anyone else was really doing this down in Nashville. And he's been very successful. He wound up, you know, just with a mower in himself, going out, mowing people's lawns and then pruning their bushes, buying more tools. His wife was working. So, you know, it wasn't like they had a survival of his income. And he built into a major business, had lots of people working for him. And no, they weren't all Mexicans.
No, we're all Mexicans.
No, but the point is, it just takes gumption. This is America. Anybody can make anything. Elon Musk didn't come here with $1 billion. He'll be a trillionaire soon. It just takes ingenuity. And look,
I'm going to tell you right now, Elon Musk is dead broke, and he's going to die dead broke because he puts everything in trust and lives off debt.
He's got $44 billion in cash. What do you mean he's in debt?
You're saying on paper he'll have nothing, but his trust will have billions and billions.
I'm telling you, he's got cash.
Yeah.
He paid $12 billion in income tax in cash
True.
4 years
That's
ago,
true.
and he's
Yeah.
got $40 billion more from that sale.
Is that all?
Is that all?
Whenever,
Yeah, I know.
members of Congress said he doesn't pay anything in taxes. He paid more
Exactly.
taxes than anybody in the country. But
In the history of the country, in 1 year, he paid more income tax than anyone ever paid in the entire history of the country, Elon Musk. And then Pocahontas had the audacity to say he wasn't paying his share. Listen, it's is that all he has? You remind me of that Jeff Foxworthy comment. He's like, or maybe it was Bill Engvall. He walked into the 7-Eleven. He said, let me get one of the lottery tickets. How much is that? Oh, it's just 200 million. 200 million? Oh, hell, just give me a Slurpee. It's not even worth it. Just give me a Slurpee. What? Is that 200 million a little too rich for you, boy? I got to put a dent in your outboard motor?
Your $2 ticket for $200 million is a pretty good trade-off, providing you win.
Yeah.
So no, you guys make good points. I mean, a little bit of ingenuity, and that's what we used to rely on in the old days. This country was founded on ingenuity. I mean, come on, man. People invented all sorts of great things. The things they used to invent 100, 150 years ago that you don't even know exist. They used to invent some incredible things in this country and bring them to market. Some things sold, some things didn't. Some things didn't take off. Some things couldn't fit the market. They were just too pricey. But Americans were always ingenuitive, inventive, and always put stuff out there and try to promote themselves and grow themselves. And that's your point.
Yeah. Look, the thing is that people need to quit being lazy. I'm sorry. Some people are just lazy. They don't try. They just don't try. Look, when I was in college the second time, I lived down near the Hocking River, and I would walk up the street, and I had to pass one of the streets where fraternity houses were. And 3 or 4 nights a week, the front yards would be littered with aluminum cans because they're out there drinking beer all night long. What did I do? I carried a little bag, one of those thick plastic bags from the bookstore. I'd crush cans, fill it up, and every day I'd have a few pounds of aluminum. I made over $1,000 recycling aluminum just walking to and from class as a college student in 1 year. I could have started a business just picking up all that aluminum. And I also discovered that like the bars uptown didn't even recycle their aluminum. I could have agreed to take all their aluminum off their hands and just had like a trailer pulling behind my car, and I could have made thousands of dollars per year. Thousands of dollars. But, that's a business idea but I was going back in the Army, so I'm not sitting around starting an aluminum recycling business. But it was just sitting there waiting. There were like 15 bars uptown, and they just threw all their aluminum away. I could have just gone through their trash cans and picked the stuff out as long as I had something not to cut my hands on the glass because they had bottles too. But the point here is that it just takes a little bit of thought and ingenuity. It's amazing what people can come up with when they put their mind to it. But a lot of people are unwilling to take risks. They expect people to hand things to them. They expect to be given jobs. They're entitled to job. You're not entitled to anything. You're not entitled to anything. The only thing you're entitled to are your natural rights, your God-given rights. The right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, freedom of assembly, freedom of worship, freedom of speech. That's what you're entitled to. Those are God-given rights. The rest of that stuff, polities decide what you get and don't get. Here comes the rain.
I had seen a thing on YouTube recently where some people are just taking basic plastic bottles, 2-liter bottles, water bottles, things like that. Your little thin plastic bottles, and melting them down and making plastic bricks out of them and building some pretty nice structures out of those things. And come to find out, I think in England, there was a company that was doing that and selling them. Was that your rain?
That's the rain. I told you it was coming. You thought I was messing around.
What's it hitting your window, or is your roof that thin?
It's flying sideways. It's a sideway wind. It's hitting the window. I've got a big window, a studio window here.
Last time I checked, when rain gets sideways, usually you got a strong wind behind it, known as a tornado.
Well, yeah, that's a possibility, but not likely here in Pennsylvania.
I
think we've had one tornado warning in a decade here. So
that is the strangest.
Not tornado country.
That is the strangest feeling in the world when you can't see anything out your windshield. The rain's gone sideways. The cattle are running in the opposite direction in which you're traveling. You start hearing that whooshing sound, and you don't know where it's coming from. You feel like you're in trouble.
Well, listen, I was just in Florida, and of course, Florida, and one moment it's sunshine, the next moment you're on the highway and you're in a freaking torrential downpour.
Yes.
That happened to me my way. When I left Tampa, instead of fighting all the construction, the traffic going between Orlando and Tampa, I went north, which is about 20 miles longer, and went cross county roads to get back to Orlando after I got off the highway. I hit a rainstorm in which visibility went from 30 miles to 30 feet in about 30 seconds or less. And when those raindrops came down, they were the size of hail. It was rain, but it was the size of hail, and it just pelted the vehicle. And, people still went 80 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I couldn't see anybody. I'm like, what are you people doing? I slowed down. And then I got out of it, and I got on the other side towards Orlando, and I headed back down. I hit another one, just swells up out of nowhere. No, that rain can be quite vicious at times. And that's a little bit disturbing.
I grew up in the Sunshine State and watched rain on the other side of the roads, side streets, and it's
You
over
can
there
have
raining like you.
And the sun is shining on your side of the street.
Yes, I see. Or you watch it as a wall coming to you, and when it hits you, you're drenched.
Oh, and it's hard too. That rain comes down hard in that part of the country, and it's in large raindrops. I mean, these aren't small. I guess the humidity must hold the drops together or something like that as they come down because the air's so thick, I guess. But it was, of course, absolutely brutal. 95 degrees in early May in Florida, Central Florida. I flew back. It was 57 degrees. I was in my shorts, walked out, and I was in heaven.
Yeah, that humidity really gets you. It's not the heat so much as the humidity. Heat's bad enough, but the humidity really just nails you.
Right.
Yeah, man, I never understood why people want to go to Disney World in the summertime. What a crazy idea.
Only because their drop shipping is a good one, I think. Wow. We
Wow,
can all
I
hear
heard
that.
that. Yeah.
We're over here praying for Chris. Everybody listening, you got to pray for Chris Wyatt so he survives the storm happening in central Pennsylvania.
Well, I do have a surge suppressor. I just worried my power will go out because there's a lot of construction around here, unfortunately. And sometimes they leave the lines open instead of burying them when they should have buried them when they build new houses. And anyway, sometimes we lose power. So if I disappear, it's not because I'm disapproving the conversation. It's because of the storm.
He'll be back on a cell phone trying to capture a cell tower.
Oh, I got that. I got a cell signal. That's not a problem. I got 3 bars right now.
3 whole bars. He might actually make it back in.
Yeah.
Although this free stream can be hard on a cell phone. I don't know.
My phone has done hundreds, if not thousands, of streams on it. This Samsung S21 Ultra. I've had this for over 5 years. It's been fantastic. But it's starting to show its age.
Yeah, I had one of those 8, and the only reason I got rid of it is because the battery just would not charge. The screen went black, and that was it. I was done.
Well, when I was in England for the Women's Rugby World Cup, I never dropped a phone before, but I went up dropping 2 phones when I was there, just in my backup, and cracking the screen. And the screen here was barely a crack. It just put one little line across the screen, but then the bottom would flicker in and out in different colors. And so I went and had them replace the screen, and they had 1 screen in stock. And the good news is when you get a screen, it came with the battery. So I got a brand new battery. So basically renewed my phone last October. So it's almost like a brand new phone, but it is starting to show its age.
So I should have done with my last phone, just got a battery, but I ended up trading it in, upgraded, got that
Nothing wrong with that.
25. And
It keeps the Chinese employed. I know you're really worried about manual laborers.
yeah, we don't want the Chinese to suffer. So we got a few minutes before we're at top of the hour break. What do you guys think about this reflecting pool down here, the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool? Trump wants to make it like flag blue.
Yeah.
Well, Todd?
Looks more like swimming pool blue, I think,
Yeah.
versus flag blue. And then-
Well, they give the artist rendition, right? It's not finished yet, so.
Right. The idea of the reflecting pool was with the whole green, I guess, motif. It reflects a lot better than if it was clear or blue, right? I think that's right.
I think he's trying to hit the 4th of July is what he's trying to do.
Sure. It'll look good for a little while, I think, but it's going to eventually, unless you keep it clean, chlorinated, whatever the case may be, the algae is going to grow back over anyway.
Yeah, it'll get coated, and next year it'll disappear. So
in other words, what you're saying, it needs to be maintained.
Yeah.
Right, now, mind you, it did need to be cleaned out, and leaks needed to be plugged. I guess there was a lot of leaks in there, and so on and so forth. I get it. It needed that, but I don't know if it needed the blue paint. It'll probably look good for a while, but it's going to grow back over anyway. But
So here's the deal. The media are losing their mind on this over everything. Donald Trump gave a non-compete contract to his cronies for $2 million to redo the reflecting pool. When Obama was president, he spent $34 million and it shut it down for a year with no water in it. And then when they opened it, I saw the interview with half a dozen black people from DC going, Oh, what did they do? It looks just as bad as before. Boy, it smells nasty.
Yeah, right. I remember.
So he spent $34 million shutting it down for a year. Trump is paying a company $2 million on non-compete because of a compelling reason. It needs to be done before the 4th of July. It'll be done before the 4th of July in a couple weeks flat for $2 million, 1/16 the cost. And that's also 15 years later. Obama did that, when the dollar was worth a lot more. Trump's doing it at an inflation-adjusted rate, which means it's probably about $1.4 million compared to the 30-some million dollars Obama paid.
Yeah.
And the media are losing their minds. The perspective, history matters, folks. Gosh bless it.
So
Right.
there's a company, some historical society, I guess, has a lawsuit now trying to get him to stop what he's doing.
Oh, they're trying to stop the renovation of the White House. They can go stuff it up their socks. They're just a bunch of whitey crybabies. First off, this stuff is none of their business. What historical thing are they doing? Fixing something that's broken. The White House, when Obama hosted state dinners, they had to have tents outside in the humidity of D.C., which was a swamp, by the way, that they took.
Right.
They had to have tents outside, and international leaders had to dine outside within rifle range of people on that could pick them off at a distance. It's unbelievable. These people are complaining about a ballroom. Everyone else has a ballroom. Why can't the United States have a freaking ballroom? I tell you what, why doesn't Trump build a castle for the president? I want a palace. I want the Trump palace. Just tear the White House down. Build a Trump palace. that ought to get him riled up.
You remember when Trump first went into office, he says, "Oh, I don't have to stay at the White House. I got to better stay over here at my own place."
Oh, he had the Trump hotel.
And better. Yeah, he's like, I can stay at my own place. There's more room. And that's not to knock the White House. The White House is a beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, the White House is fine, but let's build a Trump palace for the president.
Yeah, but anyway, the East Wing was only built in the 1940s, by the way.
I know, and they're making it sound like it's from 1800 or something like that.
No, it wasn't like an original structure from whenever Jefferson.
No, none of the East Wing, neither the East Wing or the West Wing original structure. It was just the main building. Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah. And certainly the 37 floors beneath it were never there before either. The bunkers and all that.
Yeah. And the PIOC needed to be upgraded anyway. Let me tell you. I mean, it was basically a bomb shelter. It's not for nukes or anything like that. It's just for basically superficial bombs that may be landing on some of the buildings. A direct hit, the old PIOC would probably have been destroyed, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Well,
but this ballroom's needed.
You bring that up, but the most overlooked part of this discussion is the Secret Service has said this is going to be beneficial because I think they're planning on putting a new command center or something in there, and how they set it up, it's going to be
well. That's a military command center. Yeah, it's a White House military office. Yeah, okay. Yeah. It's not Secret Service.
So, but it's going to be beneficial to have this. It's going to be an improvement what they're going to do with it. So it's not just 100%. About a ballroom, but there's also more going on behind this that nobody's talking about.
Plus the level of security that you can put in place and push people through there, as far as having them wait out on the sidewalk, trying to get in there, like you said, 100-degree heat, 100% humidity. These people will be able to sit in an air-conditioned security line, a security queue, and go through there and arrive fresh, ready to do business for their country or whoever they represent at a state dinner.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because people think these state dinners are just basically places to show off. But what people don't understand is the amount of business that's going off at each of these tables. People are seated, and the colonel's probably participated in very similar dinners overseas. People are placed for strategic reasons of the what they bring to the table and what they can discuss at their levels. So business for the nation is actually being discussed at these state dinners.
Of course. I mean, this is the nation's interest. And this whole thing is ridiculous. Just a bunch of twits who would do anything to oppose Donald Trump. These people have no merit. They should be ignored, just completely ignored.
Yeah, it's not just for a social gathering for people to swill martinis or wine or whatever, for crying out loud. There is actual business being discussed at every table at a state dinner, for sure.
Wait a minute. We're not putting in a stadium and have Kid Rock play there?
Right. Yeah, or UFC fights and all that, right?
Yeah. But we're supposed to have a UFC fight somewhere in DC this year in celebration of the independence.
Why not?
So no, we are. I don't remember who's supposed to be there or what it was all entails so far. But from my understanding, Trump's supposed to be scheduling a UFC fight. He's supposed to be scheduling a race. What is it? A Formula race?
IndyCar race, I think it is.
IndyCar, yeah.
Yeah, IndyCar, yeah.
And so they're going to be using streets in DC like they do in Europe and stuff, I guess. And I don't think they do
Right.
that in the U.S. as a rule.
We,
but
we do. IndyCar. We did it in Nashville a few years in a row here. So yeah, they do street racing.
Oh, pretty
Yeah.
cool. I've never seen it. I grew up around Daytona Beach area. I don't NASCAR, but
Right.
from my house, I can hear the cars running all day in a circle around the track. Been down there a couple of times, down in the infield and stuff, and right up on the action. It was pretty fun being in there.
Mm-hmm, for sure. Yeah, I think it'd be interesting. You have a street race in DC. You could have any number of things, concerts, UFC fights. I mean, there's stadiums. Plenty of stadiums, plenty of places to have indoor, outdoor, whatever the case may be. Anything you really want to do, concerts. I mean, DC has it all, for crying out loud, and it is a destination now, not just to see a few monuments anymore. There's a lot of stuff to go actually do as far as entertainment, sports, things of that nature. Not just there for government policy walks anymore. DC is a destination for people for varied backgrounds.
They could put an octagon right there at the National Mall.
Yeah, right. For sure. So
that would be interesting. Halfway between the Capitol building and the Washington Memorial.
Right, and celebrate. Whenever the country was founded, you may have some pugilists, some fist fights, maybe some organized fist fighting that turned into boxing, right? And then now you have mixed martial arts, for crying out loud. How far has the country come from people dueling with pistols and powdered wigs to beating each other up in an octagon? Hey, you're not killing each other anymore, though, right? I mean, is it more humane or less humane? I don't know.
I think they got rid of duels long before
right, you had a
Lincoln,
vice
but
president
yeah,
shot
Lincoln, man,
somebody.
them guys when they did debates with their fists. They weren't playing around, man.
Right,
They get
I
out
mean-
there and swat at each other and take some shots.
Yeah, Andrew Jackson, for crying out loud, getting in duels with people. Never mind fist fights, actual dueling with people. And it's like, how far have we come? We don't have presidents that duel anymore. They may duel on Twitter or something. That's
It
about
was a different time.
Yeah.
Well, this country was founded on men with backbone. And I'm not sure if it's being carried on with men with backbone in some parties, but
Yeah, but we like to say, oh, we're more violent nowadays, and it's like, I don't know. We had our actual leaders were blowing each other away.
Teddy Roosevelt got shot
Weehawken,
in the
New
chest,
Jersey, for
bro.
crying out loud.
The man got shot in the chest doing a speech, and he looks down and goes, "Oh, let me finish my speech before I go see medical. Get medical treatment."
Right.
He stands there, oh,
Roosevelt,
he's bleeding from the
bully,
chest.
I'm
yeah.
shot. I will continue my speech.
Yeah, man. So I mean, we've had some strong men in this country.
Yeah.
Men with grit,
Yep, absolutely.
and now they're all actors.
They're all actors. Oh boy.
Yeah, we.
It's
are
hard,
getting tough.
Mr. Chisholm. It's a hard country, kid. John Wayne.
Yeah, I was gonna say John Wayne, the little kid
country
didn't know how to swim. He goes, "You don't know how to swim." He picks him up by his britches and throws him in the lake.
Yeah.
You don't know.
That'll fix it.
Renee Christopher says maybe we should still have dueling and fencing. And she's not talking about putting up barriers and stuff between yards.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, yeah, no, it's a different world. Andrew Jackson was a nasty, nasty piece of work. He violated the trust of the American people. And remembered as a hero, Old Hickory, but he's the guy that defrauded the Seminole, the Choctaw, and the Cherokee Indians,
Right.
stole their land to speculate, make him and his friends wealthy. Okay, Andrew, I know you're dialing up from down below where it's warm. Anyway, all that noise.
Yeah,
out
in the
there.
War of 1812, when he went to New Orleans, even after the war was already over, and he gets credit for beating the British there, and it's like, FYI, the war was over, my friend. You didn't have to fight that one.
True. Yeah, but he couldn't have known that. It was a different time. So
No, I
I'm
know,
sure
I
that-
get that, yeah. But I mean, even if he had gotten the word, he probably would have still fought him anyway, because that's who he was.
Yep. So, yep. Anyway, different times. Different time.
Broadcasting from 200 Main Street in the beautiful and historic Masonic Building. This is WSMN 1590 AM and WSMN 95.3 FM Nashua. Streaming live at wsmn.live.
USA Radio News, I'm Anthony Lucero. President Trump is preparing for high-stakes talks with Chinese President Xi Jinping as China remains a major economic lifeline for Iran, purchasing more than 80% of Iranian oil exports while relying on the Strait of Hormuz for a large share of its own oil supply. CIA whistleblower James Erdman III testified before the Senate over alleged efforts to cover up the origins of COVID-19.
Dr. Fauci influenced the analytical process and findings by leveraging his position to ensure the IC consulted with a conflicted list of curated subject matter experts, public health officials, and scientists.
The hearing came as the Justice Department faced pressure to investigate former NIH official Dr. Anthony Fauci over statements made to Congress about Wuhan lab research. Vice President J.D. Vance says the Trump administration will withhold funding from states that fail to address fraud, announcing a $1.3 billion deferral in California Medicaid reimbursements.
There are California taxpayers and American taxpayers who are being defrauded because California isn't taking its program seriously.
All part of a broader crackdown on abuse in state social service programs. The Cuban American community is facing a double dose of uncertainty regarding the future of the island.
President Trump has revealed that a collapsing, blockaded Cuban government is officially asking for help and entering talks with Washington. U.S. political expert Alex Panelas chimes in.
Could result in some backlash in the upcoming midterm elections, especially for example, Congresswoman Maria Elvira Salazar, who's being challenged, a serious challenge by Elliot Rodriguez.
At the same time, local travelers are scrambling over Havana's strict new migration law, which strips dual citizens.
Wall Street closed mixed.
At the closing bell, the Dow Jones Industrial Average lost 67 points, the S&P 500 gained 43 points, and the Nasdaq surged 314 points. I'm Sarah Lee Kessler.
From America's News Network USA Radio News.
Maybe this is you too. There's enormous frustration right now with healthcare costs. It is amazing. Healthcare costs for families in the last 20 years have almost tripled. And it just keeps getting worse. All this to say, this is why MediShare is so in demand right now. People are looking for alternatives. And MediShare is proven you can save thousands of dollars a year and actually like it more. Over 1 million Americans are now part of healthcare sharing, and MediShare is the gold standard. It's trusted. It works. It's been helping people save money and have peace of mind now for 30 plus years. It's not some big impersonal thing either. It's a community of people like you helping each other. So yeah, if you're frustrated too, here's your chance to make a refreshing change. You'll notice the difference as soon as you call. They're easy to talk to. You can get a price within 2 minutes. Here is the number. Call 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE 40. 855-SHARE-40.
Tired of wondering where your money really goes? At Mammoth Nation, we built what was missing. The America First Marketplace. Every brand we feature is 100% American owned and operated. Rigorously vetted for their values and committed to supporting our Constitution, law enforcement, and the American dream. When you shop with us, your dollar stays in the neighborhood, supporting families, veterans, and charities like Folds of Honor. No more sending your hard-earned money overseas to the companies that don't respect you here. Your dollar reflects your values. Your dollar, your values. Your America. Join Mammoth Nation today and be part of building a patriot economy by going to TruckersUnitedForFreedom.com affiliate page and hit that link. American built, America strong, Mammoth Nation.
H.com. I look forward to hearing from you. And remember, health is wealth.
Continuing the legacy started in 1904, Roger Pellerin of Gate City Monument Incorporated continues to provide the same high-quality monument, custom headstone, and stoneworking craftsmanship today that they built their reputation on over 100 years ago, servicing Nashua, New Hampshire, as well as nearby areas in Massachusetts, such as Lowell, Billerica, Chelmsford, and beyond. From creating custom monuments to memorialize, to landscaping and granite work or restorative services, each job is done to your satisfaction and is backed by decades of experience and integrity. If you're thinking about stonework, think Roger Pellerin of Gate City Monument. Visit online at gatecitymonument.com. Stop by and meet Roger at 321 West Hollis Street in Nashua, or call 603-883-7141. That's 603-883-7141. Gates City Monument, memorials of distinction for people who care.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just now tuning in here to WSMN, you're listening to the Common Sense Conservatives live and coming at you. So what else we got going on here, guys? I see that Trump is still trying to appeal his case to Jean Carroll. You guys see that?
I did.
Yeah.
And so he has the appeals out, so he doesn't have to pay her for now.
Yep. So he's waiting on SCOTUS to make a ruling, I guess. So he doesn't have to pay her, but yet if he fails, then he's got to pay with interest, apparently. But he's still riding that presidential immunity. How do you think that applies? I mean, I haven't seen any claims in how Trump thinks it applies, but do you guys have any idea what he may have said about that?
What was that question again, John? Sorry.
Presidential immunity. Trump is still, I can't believe I can't pronounce his name correctly. Trump is still claiming that he has presidential immunity in this case. And I'm trying to think, how does he figure presidential immunity applies in this case? And why is he leaning on that?
I don't know. I haven't been following this case. I thought it was already decided and he'd already paid her. So it was surprising to me. So I really don't know what's going on with this one. It's not one I paid much attention. I did see a headline earlier that this was happening, but beyond that, I don't really know. It's not one I follow.
Yeah, it's craziness, but we'll see what SCOTUS has to say about it, I guess, here whenever they get around to making a ruling on it or hearing the arguments. But yeah, kind of interesting stuff. Rubio is still being accused of being an alcoholic. That's kind of getting out of control, isn't it?
Is it Rubio or Kash Patel?
Both. I'm sorry, you're right. Kash Patel. Kash Patel was defending himself recently.
Yeah, no. Apparently, they produced a blood alcohol test or something like that. That's crazy. Chris Van Hollen published alcohol test after Patel dispute. Democrats obsessed with the members of President Trump's cabinet, including Patel, have alcohol issues. These claims are bolstered by reports from outlets like The Atlantic, which claim that the director has bouts of excessive drinking can sometimes be difficult to reach. Van Hollen broached the topics presented in the article during a Senate Appropriations Subcommittee. So yesterday, FBI Director Cash told me he'd take the alcohol user's disorder identification test if I did. Well, here's mine. That's what it is. Okay, so he took his. So I don't know what's going on. These people are really obsessed with Trump. They just don't let go, and they're going after everybody. The problem is they can't get Trump because he's a teetotaler. He won't drink alcohol, so they can lie. That'd be like somebody trying to say that, oh yeah, they saw me drinking. I know that's a lie because I don't drink in public, and I don't really drink, to be honest. So anyone that says that, they're lying. So it's some things that they can't get Trump for that. Imagine if Trump had one drop of alcohol, they'd be talking about him all day long as if he was a drunk.
Well, they're already trying to. Yeah, they're trying to accuse him of not having his faculties and falling asleep at meetings and dumb stuff like that. But yet I've yet to see any proof that he's actually, I've seen some pictures that people have, but I doubt that anybody's at a Trump meeting snapping pictures going, look, he's falling asleep. I'm going to report this to people. I think it just made up bullshit.
I think you're correct. Yeah, look, they're just this is what Democrats do. They distract from the business of government because they don't know how to govern. They don't care to govern. They're just nasty, nasty people. That's all they spend their time. Chris Van Hollen is another weasel. He and that other clown, Jeremy Raskins, two weasels in Maryland. They were preceded by Ben Cardin, who wasn't quite as big a weasel, but he was also a weasel. The Democrats in Maryland are serial pathological liars. They've always been that, and they've gotten away with it for years. And unfortunately, because of the government jobs and all the contractors and all the defense companies and all the tech companies that are cloistered around D.C., many of them in Maryland, Montgomery County, Prince George's County, and other places, the incomes of those people are quite high. So lots of really wealthy, stupid people live in those areas, and they vote Democrat. And the Democrats run Maryland like a gangster state, and they have for the brief period when Bob Ehrlich was governor. Now, we had the last Republican governor there, but he wasn't really Republican. He was Republican in Democrat clothing. But the previous one, the last real conservative, was Bob Ehrlich. And the guy had a 63% approval rating amongst likely Maryland voters and lost the election to O'Malley. Why? Because O'Malley was a Democrat. That's the only reason. 63% of voters approved of the job Bob Ehrlich was doing as governor, and then he still lost the election. That's whatever. You can't save a place like Maryland. It's right. That's why I'm no longer living in Maryland. So.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, so I guess now The Senate wants to. I don't know if this obviously isn't a bill. It must be a what do you call it? With when they make rules for themselves, and where the Senate is no longer going to take a pay when the government shuts down.
I'm not sure. I haven't seen that one either. You're catching me stuff I haven't caught.
The Senate on Wednesday unanimously voted to advance Senator John Kerry's resolution to suspend senators' pay during a government shutdown. The resolution would only apply to senators and does not require approval from the House of Representatives or President Trump's signature. So the Senate voted 99-0 on the motion to end debate on proceeding to the resolution, indicating that it will have enough support to pass the upper chamber. So I guess they want to just, how they make rules for themselves and stuff like that. And they want to make it so that they can't get paid if they're not taking care of business.
Wow. Well, it's interesting. John Kerry's still in the Senate?
Who did
John
you
Kerry?
say?
Did I say John Kerry?
1970s?
You
Did I say
did.
Kerry?
Did I really? Oh, no, John
Yeah.
Kennedy. John Kennedy.
Oh, I heard Kerry.
Yeah.
I heard Kerry. I'm like,
thought
he's
you
still in the
I
Senate?
I was even thinking of John Kerry. I don't know why I would say John Kerry. I saw the K, I guess, and just say Kerry.
Maybe out of habit, but I thought you said
Right.
John Kerry. I'm like, is he still around? That fossil?
Right, I thought-
He's
he's
somewhere, but
long gone.
not there. Yeah. Oh, holy crap! I can't believe I said John Kerry.
I don't
Well,
know. I don't know what to say about that. So,
furthest thing from my mind. I swear, true.
well, the Chinese are my mind. I mentioned that mayor who got convicted, who pled guilty earlier. Now a jury has found a Chinese American ran Beijing's undercover police station in New York guilty of being a foreign agent. Also found guilty of obstructing justice by deleting WeChat messages documenting his direct communications with a contact in the Chinese Ministry of Public Security. Liu Zhuan Wang, 64, community leader and former president of America Chang Lee Association, was convicted on May 13th in Brooklyn federal court. That would be today. He ran the Chinese Overseas Police Service Center out of the offices of his hometown association, East Broadway in New York's Chinatown. Yeah, he's being held accountable. This is what's going on. The Chinese have been putting their police stations to oppress Chinese nationals and their families in foreign countries, including the United States, in New York,
Right.
in D.C., in Chicago. And it is time to root these SOBs out and put them in prison where they belong, and then deport them back to China. It's time we start cracking down on Chinese Americans. Oh, that's going to upset a few people. Oh, you sound like a xenophobe. Nope. I'm talking about those breaking the law. If you're not breaking the law, you got nothing to worry about.
Right. Absolutely. 100%. Get them out.
Chris, do you not eat at Chinese restaurants?
No, I do not eat Chinese restaurants. First off, it's not Chinese food. It's American Chinese food, which is not even close to the same. Chinese food is bland and bleh. American Chinese food is fattening.
Yeah. It's kind of like American Mexican food, right? It's got all them spices and stuff in it. Mexican.
Well,
maybe
that's true. American Mexican's a little bit different, but it's a lot closer to true Mexican food than American Chinese food is. So yeah. Look, I
Right,
mean,
for sure.
American pizza is the best pizza in the world. That flat cardboard crap that they serve in the rest of the world and pretend it's Italian is a joke, including in Italy. And when I went to Italy, all these people like, oh, you're gonna love it here. Oh, the gelato is amazing. I'm like, gelato? It's sherbet, man. What are you talking about? It's just sherbet. Get over yourself.
Yeah.
The best Italian ice cream in the world isn't served in Italy. It's served in Germany by Italians
Germany,
who
yeah.
make it for German taste.
That's
yeah,
it.
Italian ice. That's the best stuff,
Oh,
man.
it's
That's
so
the
good.
good stuff.
So good.
Yeah, isn't it ironic that the best Italian ice cream in the world is found in Germany because it's served up there by Italians? But the stuff in Italy, oh, gelato, I'm like, man, it's just sherbet. They're like raving about, oh, the ice cream here is so good. I mean, people went on like that for a week. I'm like, finally, let's go get ice cream. I'm like, that's not ice cream. That's sherbet, man. Gelato.
Yeah. But it's the way you say it. Gelato. Hey, you want to have a gelato? Yeah, I'm
What
having
you say?
sherbet.
Gelato, gigolo, one of those two things, something like
Right,
that.
yeah.
It sounds good until you start eating it, right?
No, it's fine. It's very good. It's actually quite tasty, but it's not ice cream. It's sherbet, man. It's ice milk or ice water, whatever. It's not ice cream. Ice cream is made from milk. It's made from milk with sugar. Yes, that's what ice cream is. Yeah,
And
not this
salt and,
nonsense made from ice water.
Yeah, I remember when you was a kid, man. You handed a bowl of sherbet, and you're like, "Oh man, I got ripped off. This isn't ice cream."
Yeah, it's like
I
your
didn't
mom's
mind-
ice cream. Yeah.
I didn't mind it. I mean, anything was good. We'd take any sweets as a kid, but it's not ice cream, man. It's just not ice cream. Simple as that. Anyway, so I'm gonna take my damn hat off now.
And it says that for those that can't see. This is my damn hat. DAM. I can't see what's written under. It's kind of small print.
Hoover Dam.
Oh, the Hoover Dam.
Hoover
Yeah,
Dam.
that's right. It was out there.
I replace it with another cap here. There we go.
Back in the army. Be all you can be.
I got to tighten that up a little bit. I got a
Did
haircut.
you hear that
now, it's
commercial
falling.
earlier before we started the show about
Which
the apple pie ad?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, you remember that commercial in 1976? Hot dogs, baseball, apple pie, and Chevrolet.
Well,
Baseball,
I'm
hot
sorry,
dogs,
you were
apple
born
pie,
in
and Chevrolet.
1976. Not I forget.
78, but that's all right. Yeah. So tell me,
78.
what's the fascination with apple pie, though? I mean,
I
I don't
don't
mind an
know.
apple pie.
I'll take cherry pie any day of the week over apple pie, even
You guys
pumpkin
are
pie.
so un-American. You're liberals, I swear.
No, whoever sold us that
No.
apple pie was an American thing. I don't know. It's clunky. It's chunky. It's not my Todd. I'm with you, 100%.
Right, yeah.
Cherry pie any day, even pumpkin pie.
Yeah, absolutely. Cherry pie, cream pie. Oh man.
Heck,
Good
even
stuff.
lemon meringue pie over apple pie.
I love apple pie. It's so good. Apple pie and pumpkin pie.
Well, I like baseball, but not that much anymore.
Not that much. I never got into baseball that much. Football I used to love.
How can you love apple pie but not love baseball? That doesn't make any sense.
Baseball, I mean, as I got to be older, maybe I kind of was enjoying a little bit of baseball, but I'm not that into it. It's just too slow of a moving game, I think. For me.
Well, they ruined it for me with the strike in 1994. I look forward to coming back to the States after being overseas and fighting in a war and then spending years over there after the fact, then coming back. I had box seats for Camden Yards for Kansas City series, and they went on strike like the week before I came back. And I never forgave Major League Baseball for that.
He give up on baseball. So you miss Kurt Schilling winning the World Series?
Well, Kurt Schilling is a treasonous SOB. He should have been with the Orioles and winning the World Series. Case closed.
Oh, I see. So there's some rivalry going on
Mike
here
was
between Maryland and
greedy treasonous prick. He went to the Yankees of all things to go to the Yankees. Give me a break. Oh, jeez. No thanks. Sorry. Some things are not allowed. You cannot leave the Orioles to play for the Red Sox or the Yankees. That's just an unforgivable sin.
So you're being asked, Chris, what's your view or opinion on the hantavirus? What is this hantavirus crap? And why am I hearing it came from COVID?
It did not come from COVID. Hantavirus has been around forever.
Yeah.
Hantavirus, like most viruses, including the Wuhan virus, which is what the proper colloquial name for it is, not the COVID, it's Wuhan.
Right.
Viruses are typically named by epidemiologists after the place they're first noticed in significance. So, for instance, the hantavirus named after a place in South Korea named Hanta, where it was first observed. That's not where it came from. Legionnaires is named Legionnaires because it was discovered at a American Legion convention.
Right.
Lots of people got sick.
Hotel.
Ebola is named after a river in the Congo where it was first observed. Marburg, even though it's an African virus a filovirus that came from the same region as the Congo, most likely, or Burundi, it was first discovered and noticed in Marburg, Germany, a medieval German town. And unfortunately, this filovirus, which has no relationship whatsoever to Germany, is named after a German medieval town because there was a medical convention there and a Belgian doctor went there and spread it around. So that was where it was first noticed. So hantavirus is a deadly hemorrhagic fever. In other words, you bleed. It was first observed in serious numbers in Korea, but ironically, the largest number of instances annually occurs in Finland, followed closely by Germany, which most people don't even know about. The United States has typically 15 to 50 cases of hantavirus per year. However, when there is significant rainfall in the old Southwest, in Arizona, in Mexico, and parts of Southern California, the rodent population multiplies because of all the extra stuff to eat. And so it spreads like wildfire because that's a reservoir. It's in rodents, it's in hamsters, it's in mice and rats and things like that. So it is in mice, but I'm not sure it's in rats. But anyway, so when you come in contact with rodent feces or urine, you get the virus potentially. Now, none of the variants of the virus until recently were ever known to be transmittable human-human contact. In other words, once you got it, you couldn't give it to somebody else. However, the one strain that you can do that had an outbreak in Argentina recently, and that is the Andes strain of the hantavirus. The Andes strain of hantavirus was picked up by two passengers who apparently went to a dump in Argentina to take photographs. I don't know, what are they rubbish tourists? I don't know what's going on. Then they got back on the ship, an elderly couple, and they died from it. And they transmitted to the doctor. I think he may have died as well because at least 3 people died from this. And now we finally have public health authorities doing what should have been done when the Wuhan flu took place. The Wuhan flu should have been done exactly this way. The people who are repatriated to America are quarantined and kept away from the vulnerable. The vulnerable are isolated. These people are quarantined until they test negative for this after the requisite incubation period, which is a few weeks. So we're finally doing things correctly, but apparently we even screwed this up because somebody wound up in Maryland. Somebody wound up on a flight with a person like that Dutch flight attendant who apparently picked it up. And so we still got this thing potentially gotten out of control here, being spread around the planet by retards who don't follow standard medical procedures for this sort of thing. And this is what happened in COVID. Trump let Americans come back to America. They never should have been allowed here. If they came back to America, everyone on the plane should have been quarantined in a warehouse, and they should have been isolated with no one going in there. But instead, they all, oh, I'm fine. You know, they walk out the building sniffling and coughing. Or they hold it in while they're inside. And then they take it to Houston and to Dallas and to Oklahoma City and to Chicago and to Pittsburgh. And they spread this contagion all over. And that wasn't bad enough. The Chinese, who have bought out most of the textile industry, unbeknownst to much of the world, in Italy, they control much of the textile industry in Italy now. The Chinese left from being in Wuhan and from the Chinese cities where it was spread and went back to Europe, to Italy, to run the factories that they were running and spread it like the plague amongst an elderly population and wiping out tens of thousands of elderly Italians. And then the Italians spread it all over Europe because they travel everywhere after getting it from the Chinese who brought it over there. And then those people were allowed to come to America. Nobody stopped flights from Europe, so they brought it in from Europe. We got it from Asia, from Americans. We got it from Europe, from Europeans. And no controls, no measures to stop this. So what do I think about hantavirus? I think that the approach to it this time is much more sound, but it's not foolproof. They made mistakes. And in fact, of the 18 people sent to Omaha, Nebraska, at the University of Nebraska, or is it Lincoln? Where they said Nebraska, University of Nebraska, where they have a special quarantine unit to handle this thing. The only place in the country, apparently. So I guess we couldn't have put them in warehouses, but there were so many we should have done it last time around. But they sent them there, and then 2 of them developed symptoms, so they sent them to the CDC in Atlanta. And they said they did this with a State Department plane. I'm not aware the State Department has any planes. Maybe they meant a charter flight for the State Department. But all I got to say is if I was the flight crew on that thing, I would expect to be quarantined for flying those people around. Anyway, what do I think about hantavirus? I think that the approach is much smarter this time. But you know what? This crap is in South Africa too, because the elderly people who were sick, they took them into Johannesburg. Jeez. Stupid people should wear signs, man. Stupid people should wear signs. Spreading pathogens.
That was his concern. He was asking if you think this is going to go in the direction that the spicy cough did.
I do not think so, because the measures being taken by the United States and South Africa is also taking similar measures now. Contact tracing is useless when you let 3,000 people fly back to America, and those 3,000 people interact with 350,000 people, and it's out of control. But when it's 20 or 30 people and you actually implement quarantine, much easier process. Contact tracing works.
Absolutely, yeah, and I don't think the people are going to put up with another potential coronavirus or COVID, if you will. I don't
know. People are sheep, man.
That is true. I mean, we do have too many sheep that are out there. They'll be like, "Well, this one's different," and go along with it all over again.
And not just the sheep. You get the ones who become agents of the state. You're not wearing a mask. You're outside.
Right. But I think you're going to have a lot more people that are going to be vocal against it too, that are going to be just as obnoxious as well, I think.
That's a fair point, but but we should go live now to talk to Greta Thunberg. Where's she at? In Palestine or somewhere like that? Where's she protesting at now?
Yeah.
Just on the flotilla, wandering around aimlessly.
Did you see the videos of them? They claim they're being oppressed on these flotillas, but on the flotillas they're doing somersaults and jumping jacks and dancing on the boat, having a good old time. Bunch of frauds. Greta Thunberg, one of the dumbest people on the planet, one of the most famous people on the planet too. I guess it's great when you can be famous for being stupid.
Right. It's funny as you have people that are talented and entertaining and all this stuff, and people that are actually trying to become famous to entertain people or whatever the case may be, can never break through. And all of a sudden you have somebody like this or an AOC or, any number of people on the squad, or the people on The View and all this stuff. And it's like, man, how do they fail upwards constantly? Joe Biden, for crying out loud. Became president. I'm like, you have so many great people that are out here in the world that are like, man, why aren't these people, winning in their respective field, if you will? It's like, it makes no sense. I don't get it.
That's funny you said that. That reminds me of that I don't remember who it was talking to Tim Walz. And he says, Barack Obama needed somebody to be second to him that wouldn't be as smart as him, so that he would look better. He wouldn't look inferior. And so he picked Joe Biden. Joe Biden becomes president. Now runs for president. Now he needs somebody for the same
Dumber than
reason.
him.
Dumber than
Yeah.
him. So he
Right.
picks Harris.
Kamala Harris.
They get Timmy goes, and the same applies to you.
My goodness. Well,
But that he was kind of describing the downward spiral, wasn't he? I mean, it's kind of he wasn't too far off.
it's a true statement. I mean, that woman is dumber than two bricks. She's two bricks full. That's what's in her brain. Nothing but mush up there. I've never seen someone so stupid be so lucky in life as she is. She's dumb lucked her way and everything. Of course, we know some of that was a pelvic thrust event, but the rest of that she just lucked
Yeah.
into. I mean,
Right.
idiots voted for her because she was black and she was a Democrat, and so I guess that's good enough for them. Yep. Of
No,
course,
wait,
this
she was only black when she needed to be black, but she was Indian when she needed to be Indian.
Correct. She's
Right.
not black. That's the bottom line. She pretends, but she's America's most famous person. Well, after that, what's that? Rachel, what's the one who pretended to be NAACP, pretended to be black? Remember that woman? The white woman?
Right. Yeah.
So she's,
I
I
remember
guess
her.
she's the
Yeah.
most famous fake black woman because I can't remember that woman's name now.
Dolezal, right?
You mean the
Yeah,
one that
Rachel Dolezal. Yeah, that's the one.
colored,
Yeah,
her
that's her.
skin and stuff to look black and
Yeah, that's her. So I guess she's the second most famous fake black woman in America. The most famous fake black woman would be Kamala Harris.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, no, someone just said in our chat, describing the Biden regime, it was dumb and dumber. Yeah, that's definitely true. Yeah, it's definitely true. I mean, that's what a sad excuse for a presidency. I mean, we've gone we've gone from the august nature of Ronald Reagan to Kamala Harris running for president. Oh my God. Oh my God, Joe. Can you believe it? We did it.
Yeah, right.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and the faux video that they did to do the announcement of it was him talking to her over speakerphone, like, "Oh, of course, Joe, I'm ready." Get out of here, overproduced, so fake, so obviously, like if you're gonna do a video, make it at least believable, for crying out loud.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
don't
is a
don't
lot
do
of theater.
Yeah, don't do theater. Come on now.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. But yeah, it's that's what I don't know about you guys, but that's one of the things I value about Trump. Yeah, he may be a little hard with his words, but he's got backbone. We've got a man running this country again. We got somebody who's got the grit to get the job done. He's willing to do what's necessary. He's willing to take the hits. He's willing to take the criticisms. He's not worrying about people's opinions. He has a plan, and he's executing that plan. A lot of people seem to be confused on it. The reason why they're confused on it is because they're listening to the wrong people giving them the narrative of what's going on, and not paying attention for themselves and using a little bit of critical thinking as they're evaluating it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'd love there's nothing to go there. I mean, just making a statement here, but it's just nice to see a president that can stand up and like Reagan, that can stand up and get the job done. He's not afraid to do the work.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you in that. But that's one thing about Trump. He definitely, the guy puts in hours. No one's giving him credit for that. The guy puts in more hours than anyone ever has. Just absolutely amazing how he constantly comes under attack. Look, I mean, I met with someone this week whom I know. And the reason I won't say who it is because I'm going to share what they share with me, so I want to keep it private, but I'll mention the extra content. This is a person who's connected in the conservative community and is Christian. And this person and I talked about Trump, and he said, well, he's not thrilled with the administration. I said, why? Because I'm sure there's some reasons. And basically because the person concerned that Trump is tearing apart the coalition. And all this Alex Jones and Tucker and all these other people. And also one of the issues came up is Trump said he wouldn't start any wars. Well, on that point, my friend and I disagree because Trump didn't start this war. The Iranians did in 1979. It was long overdue to be addressed. But I didn't want to have an argument because I respect the person and I didn't have a lot of time anyway. So we talked about this. And the one thing we both agreed on is that, both of us, when Trump does something we agree with, we praise him for doing a good job. And when he's wrong, we call him out. A lot of people do that. My friend told me he lost friends because he defended something Trump did. I said, well, then they weren't friends. If they part ways because of that, I mean, like, for instance, I know that we have a disagreement on Iran. He doesn't think we should be in Iran. I think we should be pulverizing them right now. I think there should be jets dropping bombs at this hour. That's how I feel about it right now. So, but I'm not going to stop my friendship with this person just because of that. That's childish. That's juvenile. But there are people out there like that. And like I told them, I said they weren't your friends if they've abandoned you because of that. If they can't respect your opinion, then what kind of friends are they? They're not friends. They're just drinking buddies. Oh, he doesn't drink, so but you get my point.
So who was it, by the way? I'm kidding. I'm
It
kidding. I'm
was
kidding.
Alex Jones.
Who is
All
Alex?
No, it
Didn't
wasn't
you know
Alex
he's
Jones.
good friends with Candace Owens?
No, it'd
Yeah, it
be
was
funny if he
Candace,
said, "Oh, it
Candace.
was," if he just said who it was. Oh, it's Johnny Joe Bob down the street. He told me. Oh, okay, thanks.
Getting the man to slip up. Come on, it's Chris
Oh,
White. He
gotcha.
doesn't slip up.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, but sometimes I like to let people think I'm slipping up, and I let something out because that's one way to
Oh,
get the word out.
I do that all the time, man. Oh, I love it, and then people think they got something on you. It's like,
Yeah.
I just did that on purpose to see. And also, I'll throw out information occasionally to see where it's going to land. Whenever somebody hears it through the grapevine, now I
Yeah.
know who's talking. I do that a lot.
That's running it down the pike, right? You want to figure
Yep,
out
running it
where
down
it
the pike.
goes.
Well, it's like
I love doing
when I
that.
put Easter eggs in the back of my studio on the shelves, for my viewers to find the Easter eggs back there. It's the same thing to
Oh,
see who's
yeah.
paying attention.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I get people, especially in a town like where I live. You have the political scene gets very small because everybody knows everybody, but everybody's not necessarily in the same group. So I like to talk in different groups and just throw something out to see who's going to find out about it in this group over here across town. And I'll throw things out there that aren't quite true, but I'll allude to maybe I'm going to do this. I'm going to run for this office or do that. And people will talk. And then next thing you know, like a week later, you're like, "Oh, I heard you're going to do this." It's like, really? Okay, it's good to know. Something I threw out just a throwaway comment a week or so before is now being discussed. So it's good to know that.
Yep, I agree. It's these are handy tools, and you need them with Democrats out there and with political operatives, even Republicans. You can't trust all those guys. Yeah,
Absolutely. And the more disinformation you can throw out, and I'm not trying to throw people off from an official standpoint, but in my personal life or anything that I may do politically, as far as running for something, people don't need to really know until I make an announcement. So I like to keep people guessing on things like that. John?
Yeah, I was just reading something here, but I can't. Someone's, but it's nothing. Well, I mean, it was their opinion or something. But yeah, no. What do we got next? You turn it back to me.
So I've got a question. We mentioned Candace Owens, we mentioned Tucker, and all this stuff. Like, what are your thoughts on where they are right now? I mean, are they really that far out there, in Nutsville, or are they reasonable at times? What are your thoughts on them?
On those, are you asking me or John?
I just
Generally
asking for a thought. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I look, I guess I'll never be on Tucker Carlson's program, but boy, what a loss that is, Definitely won't be Candace Owens. Look, Candace Owens lost her mind. She's a Jew hater, and her entire viewpoint is colored by her hatred of Jews. I mean, it's repulsive. I mean, what a side, what a worldview from a person who has talked about how she was abused as a black person by Democrats because she was black and a conservative, to demonize Jews just because she hates Jews. I mean, I didn't want to believe it, but I listened to stuff she spews. It's pretty frightening. I mean, that sort of thing is sick. I mean, bigotry and hatred like that is uncalled for. And as far as Tucker to me has always been an opportunist. There was a time when Tucker Carlson first took over for Bill O'Reilly that he was doing some incredible reporting, but he wasn't doing the reporting. His staff was doing it. He was just the talking head out there who can articulate very well. But nonetheless, he did a great job. He was a great communicator conveying this stuff. In fact, if you go back the first week of January 2020, Tucker Carlson was the only one on the planet talking about this viral outbreak that was taking place in a southern Chinese city called Wuhan that is going to affect the world. And no one's paying attention because everybody's navel gazing about it, an impeachment of Trump. That's what he was saying in 2020. I'll never forget that. Never forget that. And or 2020, 2020. So he told people about that, and nobody listened. So I had a lot of respect for him. But I remember Tucker Carlson as the token conservative on CNN, wearing his bow ties, looking silly like he was Orville Redenbacher. Right. And then he's went from one network to another, and when he doesn't get his way, he leaves. And so. Tucker Carlson lost me. He had me all the way up until the point where he gave Vladimir Putin 1 hour of propaganda and let the guy talk and spew fairy tales about Russian history. And, people don't know any better, just bought this stuff. I mean, I'm still scratching my head about why he gave Vladimir Putin an interview. What was the value out of that? Other than he was getting attention. And that's what he wanted for his channel. Remember, he had over 100 million views the first video he did on that channel on X.
Right.
And so, look, I mean, Tucker is very arrogant and dismissive of other people, and he's got more arrogant and dismissive, kind of like Bill O'Reilly got.
Sure.
He got the same. They believe their own press. And so, look, his betrayal of Trump is epic. Instead of airing his differences privately with Trump, he went on the media and undermined the coalition. Yet they're accusing Trump of being the one who undermined the coalition. Trump is the one. But look, Trump has done plenty to piss off people in his coalition, and he's very defensive. You attack Trump, he comes out with both barrels blazing. I mean, he doesn't shoot, 155 million around. He shoots an intercontinental ballistic missile at you if you attack him. And that's what Tucker did. And that's what all these guys. But you know what? The voice of reason out there to me is it has always been, and it's Mark Levin. That's the guy who is consistent in what he says. And Mark Levin is also attacking Tucker and Candace and Alex Jones for all their nonsense, their anti-Trump nonsense. Are these fair weather fans? Look, I mean, we have a disagreement with the president. We don't agree with stuff he's doing. I mean, the deficit's out of control. How about getting control of it? I'm not willing to spend $1.5 trillion on the feds. That's unnecessary. That's more than we need to spend. It's outrageous. And I would like to see more of these criminals kicked out of the country a lot faster. But I'm not going to throw my toys out of the crib and go, what a bunch of children.
I think there's something more behind it myself. They do call him Tucker Carlson. I mean, and there is a lot of money that comes out of the Mideast to influence our policy, our politics, our educational systems, and our media. A lot of people don't seem to understand that.
Or universities are bought and paid for by the Arabs.
Well, that's why when Palestine was at the universities and they're protesting, they were getting away with it because Biden was involved in it. He involved with this nonsense, and then you got these universities are bought off by these Mideasterners to teach Mideast studies. Their version of Mideast studies. So, where young people are being swayed here. As far as Candace Owen goes, Chris, I'm not sure if it's fair to call her racist against Jews as much as she talks about Israel
I don't think
as
I
a
said
nation.
racist. I said bigotry and hatred, I think is what I said.
Yeah. Well, okay.
I was comparing the fact that as a woman of color who was attacked in racist attacks by Democrats, it's the height of irony for her to show such bigotry and hatred towards Jews. That's what I think I said.
Well, I don't think it's Jews necessarily. It's the nation of Israel she's attacking because that's the narrative of this Nick Fuentes and now Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson, that Israel's this bad nation, to the point I think the United Nations is sanctioning certain Jews and stuff that have migrated over into the West Bank.
Yes, they are. But you know what? The West. Oh, there goes my power. The power supply held on. Oh, there it goes. There it goes.
You losing power?
There? Yeah, the power. It's back. It's fluctuating now
because
of the. So my power fluctuated and Todd's camera off. That's pretty amazing.
No, I closed it for a second. I had to reach and do something. Sorry.
So you're wondering about AI, John? My AI shut Todd's camera off when my power went down.
That's what I'm talking about.
Reminds me of that episode of The Big Bang Theory at the end of it, because they were controlling things remotely. And these two guys in China, they're Americans, obviously in California, but two Chinese guys in China they're speaking Mandarin, and they're like, hey, the lights start flickering. And who's doing it? Wallow Wizard in California. As he was changing his lights and flickering them, they were laughing butts off. But no, look, it's here's the thing. The West Bank, yes, the Europeans who have no credibility whatsoever. They're bigots and racists.
Oh, I think Chris just froze up. No.
He did.
So
look at that face.
Put them back in.
They're frozen. I love it.
Yeah, we'll pull them out and see if we can pull them back in. Once I see movement and stuff, I'll just bring them back in. And
all right, sounds good. Not a problem there. So we got about less than 20 minutes here on the show, John.
Yeah, I guess we're getting on the final stretch here. So yeah, we do have problems in this country with people kind of infiltrating with their yeah, he's completely gone now. Infiltrating with their influencing with money and stuff like that. Universities, major universities, as Chris was saying, it's gotten out of hand because we're allowing this stuff to happen. We're allowing people to come to this country and start cities in places like Texas, or take over cities in places like Michigan, and attempting to institute Sharia law.
Right.
And we're seeing a very
Yeah.
slow Congress when it comes to matters like these.
And of course, you got universities, colleges that don't mind taking the money because it funds a lot of their chairs, if you will, funds a lot of their, the professors and the different wings of the universities, et cetera, the different studies. And so it ends up basically, I think the colonel just texted us too, by the way. But it ends up getting to the point where they can kind of control what's on the docket, if you will, what's going to be offered as far as courses, degrees, etc. What kind of classes you can teach, how you can teach those classes, and things of that nature. So to me, if you're teaching things in a skewed manner, of course you're gonna basically brainwash people to a degree that they're gonna believe things that just aren't true. Whether or not you're trying to brainwash them to do a certain thing or follow a certain thing, you're getting people to believe something that's just not true historically. And of course, that's a way you can kind of control the masses, if you will, get them to start to believe things that just aren't true. And we see that in the universities on a level that we've not seen, in this country, especially for maybe the last 40 years or so, whenever it really started, right? Back in the 70s, probably early 80s. A lot of foreign influence as far as our universities are concerned, right?
Yeah, I think we've had people try to infiltrate with foreign influence, but it was difficult. I think we had a Congress that I mean, you go back to McCarthy days and stuff like that, Cold War days, and
Right.
so on. We were more aware of it, and I think we did things to prevent it. And now we're just such an open border country to the point that they can very easily infiltrate our country and start taking over our institutions or influencing our institutions. And as you said, money talks and BS walks. And when that money starts rolling in, they're starting, yeah, we can do some many studies in this university, not a problem. How many hundreds of millions of dollars you say you're committing to us?
Right.
It's a lot of money. You don't turn away a lot of money when you're running a university. They love to get it from the federal government. They love to get it from foreign influence. But then you start seeing media outlets. We were talking about Tucker Carlson. I like
Right.
saying it like that, Qatar.
And
But he got startup money from a guy who his family was Iranian, I think. Was it one parent was Iranian and the other parent was Pakistani, I think, and very wealthy man, made a lot of money. You may be first generation American, but you wonder now. You see somebody like Tucker who gets funding to start up his business from somebody. How much influence is he getting from this guy saying, yeah, we kind of don't like what Trump's doing right now? Or I'm not saying that's what's happening. I'm saying speculatively, this is the sort of things that go on in the United States. But we see Qatar offers a lot of money to universities, a lot of money to media outlets, and have attempted to make a lot of influence in the United States through the years. And when you see someone like Tucker Carlson saying, yeah, I'm thinking about buying some property in Qatar. I think I might like to be able to summer there or whatever he plans on doing. I mean, it's nice that he can make such a great living and leave Maine and go to Qatar to visit. But you wonder why? Why Qatar? Of all the places in the world you can go to, what's the appeal with Qatar?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe it's just a lot of money, or a lot of places to make contacts, if you will, and maybe he can move his money around a heck of a lot easier. I don't know. I don't know.
You buy a place in a foreign land like that because you have connections, right? Because you want to make sure business goes well.
Right.
It
Push a
doesn't
certain
seem
narrative, a certain agenda, maybe. I don't know.
doesn't
Very
seem like a
possible.
normal location to me of all the places in the world you might think to go to. I'm not
Right.
saying a man couldn't, and Tucker Carlson has a point. He's the free American too, and he can buy property wherever he darn well pleases, and that's fine too. I understand that, but we see a strange sense of logic going on here.
Okay, it's interesting. Yeah, and I've really not sat down and really just followed much of these, I guess, stars, if you will, inside the conservative movement. I really don't sit around and watch Fox News. I don't really watch a lot of podcasts or anything like that. I just don't sit around and listen to a bunch of talking heads tell you about every problem that they've solved. Just listen to them. And then, of course, the next week, those problems are exacerbated. And, of course, they're on to something else, spinning you up, basically to get your like, your click, your whatever, your follow, and your reshare. It's about the bottom line for them. It's not about solving real problems or bringing awareness. It's just about talking about whatever you want to talk about to spin people up to get them to come back and click on your material, right?
Well, that was one of my points earlier about, getting on social media and stuff. It's very competitive to do stuff
Right.
like this right here. If you're trying to push something and grow something relying on a business, it's very difficult to do. And since so many people have gotten involved in it now, the algorithms have kind of depleted people's ability to make a reach. So you've got to be A, very
Right.
good at what you do, B, understand the social media platforms you're on, and C, have the money to invest to get the reach that you need to get to try to make money off it.
Right.
And so it's not viable that people are going to make huge money or even a living off from doing social media. It's, they might be able to supplement their income a little bit or have some extra cash or whatever, and that's fine. But to actually depend on it for a living is probably not going to happen for the majority of people anymore. You used
Right.
to hear
No,
them
that's for
stories
sure.
years ago. Remember YouTube? Yeah, do you know this guy's doing these YouTube videos? He's making millions of dollars, and it was like, no way. How do you do that? Right now, you got quite a few people doing it, but then you get people this Harry system that people talk about. And I kind of did a little background because I kept hearing about this guy, and I'm going, he's a leftist, and he was big on TikTok. And I started doing some little background research on this guy, who's connected with what's going on. And you find out that they have the Office of Digital, what is it? Office of Digital. I think they closed it and turned it into Doge.
So yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I can't think of the name. Digital Strategy, Office of Digital Strategy. And within that, and under the Biden administration, within that, they had another office just for social media. And so you find out, you start putting two and two together and figuring things out, and you realize this guy's connected with this office, so he's getting stuff from the top. And when they're censoring conservatives on TikTok, but this guy's getting this magnificent reach somehow, and it's all supposed to be all organic growth, you realize if he's connected with the White House, and the White House is doing all the censoring, don't you think they might be also be telling TikTok saying, but him, don't censor him. Don't
Right.
stop him. In fact, his algorithm gets put wide open. The rest of them you can shut down. We don't care. But that guy gets full
Mhm.
reach, along with a few other guys that are connected with this office.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, they got advantages, right, because of their connections.
Yeah, and you watch some people's, that watch their number of follows and likes and shares and views or whatever. You'll put out, if you could put out something very similar, theirs will be like 5, 6, 7 times what you get in the same amount of time. Yeah, they do throttle content, if you will, and of course, prefer certain creators for sure, especially if you lean a certain way politically. That's for certain. And like you said, a good upstart that wants to put out good content, it's still hard to find those followers, especially real followers, because everybody else is competing for the same thing.
Yes.
Whether it's let's put, there's the Colonel's back, everybody. For those who are wondering where the Colonel went, so a lot of our viewers from South Africa may be wondering. He's back. He is
I
returning.
didn't go anywhere. It's my crappy power company. Every time it rains, it's like being in South Africa. There's no electricity.
He lives in a commonwealth.
Yeah, exactly. The Commonwealth. Enough said. Yeah. Well, when we left off, I was saying that Todd needs to get a new camera, man. That thing keeps going off. But I was saying that you were talking about we were talking about Candace Owens or something like that, weren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I was
sneeze
asking
there,
you, I
sorry.
think, regarding you referred to as being bigoted or hatred towards Jews, and I was pointing out that I'm not sure it's directly towards people who are Jews as much as it's the country or the nation of Israel that she targets. And a lot of these.
Oh, the West Bank. You talk about the West Bank. That's what it
Oh,
was.
okay, that's where we left off.
Yeah, we left off the West Bank. Were you talking? Yeah, no, you can't. That's what I said. But Europeans are racist and bigots, and you can't trust anything they say. These are, after all, the people who oppressed Jews for millennia in Europe, especially in Eastern Europe, but also in Western Europe. So you're not really credible people when it comes to this topic. Yes, they are. And I was about to say that when the power went out, that if Jews are living in Judea and Samaria, I have no problem with that. That's where the Jews are from. So the so-called Palestinians came afterwards. The Arabs moved in that area after there were already Jews there. So, they've been there for thousands of years. And so if they want to claim that the West Bank of Jordan is a Palestine, they're wrong. It's the West Bank of Jordan. Either it's part of Transjordan or it's part of Israel. And in my view, Samaria and Judea are part of Israel. So if the Europeans want to sanction them for living in their homeland, they can get stuffed.
Yeah. A lot of people don't take the history too far back, do they? Because they always say it always belonged to Palestine, and it didn't. In fact, Palestine isn't even an Arabic word, right? It came from
the Romans, Philistines. It was the term they applied to people there, and so Palestine comes from Philistine, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe you're right.
Yep. So look, I mean, the problem is these people they have history that suits their needs. You know, first off, North Africa was Christian until the Muslim invasion, and they slaughtered or oppressed the North Africans, and they became Muslims by conquest. Islam has always spread its word through violence, not through prophesizing. The only place that Islam has been successful prophesizing amongst Black Americans in prisons. That's the only place they've been successful prophesizing, converting Christians to Muslims. Nowhere else does it work unless they kill people. Christians do it by the power. They don't have to do it by the sword. They have done it by the sword. They did the Crusades in the Baltic states. And of course, they tried to not so much convert Muslims in the Holy Land as to recapture the Holy Land from the Muslims who desecrated it and built their mosque on top of sacred ground. But the Christians, by and large, have done it by word of mouth, convincing people. Not too often do they rely on the sword.
Absolutely, John.
Oh no, Holden brought up something about explosive device was found and detonated at a dam in Alabama. So I was kind of trying to make a quick look and see what he's talking about, because I didn't hear anything. Did you guys hear anything about this?
No, I didn't. It's the first time hearing about it. I'll do a quick look if you want to keep going with the show.
A routine dive repaired a federally recognized mobile dam led an unexpected. Of course, now I'm getting all the ads. Unexpected discovery as divers found a hidden explosive device Tuesday, according to the mobile area water and sewer system, after the grenade-type IED was located at the Converse Reservoir Dam. MAWSS contacted the Mobile County Sheriff's Office, which facilitated multi-agency response to retrieve and detonate the explosive. So apparently somebody had an IED to, it sounds like somebody had a failed attempt to blow up a dam. I'm kind of thinking.
Or was it some old device that somebody just found by chance?
Well, they said it was, they did describe it as a, what was it?
You said something about a grenade-like device. I'm like,
well, after the grenade type IED was located at the reservoir dam. So improvised explosive device, right? That's what IED stands for. So it gives me the idea it was homemade.
Yeah.
I'm thinking somebody tried to create chaos and it failed, and it was discovered unexpectedly while they were doing a dive for repair, and create a little bit of a panic in the area, I'm sure. But thanks for bringing that to our attention, Holden, because that's kind of makes for an interesting story that you don't commonly see in the news.
Right. No, you do not. You're right.
So what else we got with our minimum time here of about 8 minutes? Chris, you're muted or something.
Sorry, I was clearing my throat, so I got to remember. Also, my software's been acting up. Sometimes it just turns it off on its own. I didn't realize I got to pay attention to it. But did you see in South Carolina where they were trying to redistrict and the Republicans voted it down, 29-17? Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw a bit of it. I didn't see the whole thing, but I guess a lot of people are trying to redistrict all of a sudden, suddenly here in the midterm elections. I wonder why.
And it's funny is the number of Republican seats that they're going to pick up now that the Democrats started this whole redistricting nonsense, and now Republicans are actually going to benefit as a result. I think if they all stand through lawsuits, we'll see. Tennessee Democrats have already filed a lawsuit, as they should if they disagree with it.
But right now, the Republicans are actually looking to gain from all this, potentially as many 8 Republican seats.
Yeah.
And the one place they thought they were going to lose a bunch of seats was Virginia. It was going to be 10-1, but instead of a 6-5, and it might not even be 6-5 now. Enough Virginia voters are angry about what happened, how the Democrats tried to slip through, that maybe a Republican might be able to slip through and take one of the seats from the Democrats and flip it around. So you never know. But the thing is that South Carolina, the reason they did that is that if you look at the redrawn map, it instead of having solid Republican districts and one Democratic district, it turned into several marginal Republican districts, which could come back to bite them later on. So they would take all the votes most likely this election, but in future, the demographics could work against them, and they could wind up losing several of them. So the Republicans actually vote against it. Trump's not happy about it, but it's a prudent decision. But then again, as I've said before, this redistricting, this gerrymandering is simply immoral, and neither party should participate in it. But they do. They sure do.
Yeah, I don't like it either, especially right in the middle of an election. You know, it's difficult to campaign during an election. It's feels kind of deceiving towards voters during an election because, hey, he was our candidate, but now what happened? You know, I'm over here with this guy.
Right.
I don't think it's right either, Chris.
You know, in
Sometimes
Tennessee,
necessary because of fluctuations of population growth and stuff like that. You may have to, but. And they're supposed to evaluate that every 10 years or so, something like that, and make determinations on what. And I'm sure states have their own laws on how often they evaluate and stuff.
Right, but in Tennessee, what they did was they changed it as at a special session, and then all of a sudden they reopened the congressional districts as far as picking up petitions, et cetera, because several of them changed. So now all of a sudden you have people who are running in one district may not even be in that district anymore. It can be obviously a problem for sure. In Tennessee, that wasn't a problem that was created, but now all of a sudden you have people who are running in say the 9th congressional district who are now running in a much changed congressional district. I mean, it's just changed it drastically.
Have there been cases where people are registered in a district and they change districts and stuff, and now they're not even the district they were registered in. They're living in a new district, and so now they can't run in the district that they were. Now they got to go refile if they can.
Most states, and especially in Tennessee, basically states that you must just be a resident of the state to run for, say, Congress. You don't have to actually live in that particular district because the lines do change on a regular basis.
Yeah, I think New Hampshire's that way as far as
right
on a federal level. Anyway, I mean that's with Goodlander wasn't from this district. I think she's still not in it.
Because a district could change just basically. Your house could be on one side of the street and it gets changed just the next day, and you're not in that district, and it's basically one block down the street is the new district. So you'd mess somebody over who lived in that district for a long time, represented it, and now all of a sudden they would have to move. So yeah, that makes no sense. So that allowing them to be able to stay where they're at, run for whichever office, I think is the way to go.
Most likely, yeah.
But this redistricting thing isn't just South Carolina. Mississippi's Governor Tate Reeves also said he's going to cancel a special legislative session that would have redrawn the state Supreme Court districts and possibly gerrymandered congressional districts. So it's happening. 4 southern states have backed out in this. It's interesting. Maybe reason is prevailing here, but the Democrats aren't going to be reasonable. So the Republicans have fought back in a war that now they're going to find themselves in trouble here. This is very disturbing what's going on here. Very disturbing.
Oh, absolutely. But the thing is, if Democrats, they can't win on their ideas, so they had to figure out a way to steal somewhere, some way. And Republicans are like, well, we can do the same thing, and push back. But we're going to do even better because we're going to pick up more seats. So, good luck, Democrats.
I think you're right about that. That's the bottom line. That's what's going to happen here.
Beat them at their own game. Why not?
Exactly. Exactly. Well, John, you've led our show tonight. I hope the audience has found it interesting. I know I've found it interesting, the conversation we've had tonight. Let's see what happens with the elections coming up in November. But Trump needs to get this Iran issue resolved soon, John.
Yeah, I don't know what he's been dragging his feet for. We talked about that last week as to why it may be he slowed down so much. And I know he's really crippling Iran right now and their economy doing what he's doing. But Iran is trying to, I think last I seen, they would have the Strait of Hormuz shut down again. And they're threatening, I guess, France and England both are sending ships over to the area. I don't think they're going into the strait, but I think they're looking to protect their interests as far as commercial freighters go, and they're threatening them too. If they come over here, we're going to have to take force against them. And it's like, dude, all you got left is a few drones, and that's our show, ladies and gentlemen. We are at the top of the hour, so we hope you got something out of it tonight, enjoyed it at least, and catch us again, same time, same place next week. Good night.